Good morning. Good morning. It's Lila Gonzalez here. I'm the author of The Reinvented Woman, founder of lilagonzalez.com, and I help entrepreneurs and yoga teachers build businesses and build their bodies in a way that increases their self-worth and makes more impact in the world. And what am I here today? To talk about how to become more flexible. And I'm going to be honest, I just had a huge aha right before I got on here. Do some of you feel like you're too flexible? You don't say no enough? You don't have enough structure? I'm just going to call myself out here. I'm a little late to the call. Why? I was in the bathtub. That's it. I was in the bathtub. I take baths in the morning because, I often hear people say, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to take a bath. I don't have time to eat healthy. What if you were more flexible with yourself? What if you decided, oh, I could wake up a little earlier. Oh, I could I could carve out a certain part of my day for myself. And what if you actually had more structure with it? So I'm actually here to talk about more flexibility and less flexibility today. I didn't realize that. I posted this last night. Hello. Thank you for being here. So good to see the hearts. Hearts back to you. And if you're watching later, thanks. Just thinking about your flexibility. Here's what I'm going to say. The big picture is this. The more flexible your mind, the more flexible your body. If your body's tight, your mind's tight, okay? So if your body is tight, ask yourself, where in my life could I loosen up a bit? Do you have a belief system? Do you have a relationship? Do you have a job? Your money situation? Could you loosen up a little bit with your health even? See what happens? And then some of us, and I'm going to say this has just been revealed to me like right before the call. I just had this boom aha, because this past month, my bowspring teacher, Desi Springer, has been home. She travels the world and she's been home. And what she's been sharing is that, we've been doing this new part of our practice we've realized it's a refinement. It's beautiful. And what we realize is some of us are actually, this is hard for us because we're too flexible. Me included. I'm too flexible in my body in certain areas, which means I am too flexible in my life in certain areas. What? I know some of you are out there like this. How many of you are like, whatever, just go with the flow? Yeah, that's good to go with the flow, be within the flow. But not if it's not your flow, not if that flow's not taking you where you want to go, not if that flow's not smooth, or not if you're, even if it is a little rough and up and down and around, you're not enjoying it. So if you're too flexible, oftentimes you don't have enough structure and you can't kind of get to where you want to go. So for me, I'll call myself out. I used to be very structured with time. I was like, I have got to not just be on, just heard my mom in my head. When I was given a curfew, let me ask you this. This is a good one. Woo! How many of you had strict parents? Or how many of you had parents that weren't strict enough? So it's the same thing, flexibility. Did you have much flexibility as a kid? I had like none, hardly, except when I was at school. And then I, was able to feel more free. That's why I tend to be a high achiever, I think, because that was where I did really well, because at home it was really restrictive. And so my body was tight. I had a lot of digestive issues. I would throw up my food, just be real. I couldn't keep things in my body sometimes. I had, all sorts of stuff. I don't have to go into it. But that restriction, the feeling of it, headaches, migraines, I had growing pains, they'd call them. I know a lot of kids have those. But I think that growing pains might not be quite as painful if you were allowed to grow as a child. Perhaps. I think so. So that sense of flexibility, where in your life could you be more flexible, and where in your life could you have more structure, let's say. So for me, I am working on having more structure. I used to be much more structured in terms of my time. And then because when I had a curfew as a kid, it wasn't be home by midnight. Like when I was, in after I got a license on the weekends, I could go out till midnight, and it wasn't be home at midnight. It was be home before midnight. If my curfew was midnight, don't be home at midnight, be home before midnight. So I used to always arrive places like doctor's offices and appointments and parties. I was always like one of the first people there, which is great because I got all the snacks. First dip of guacamole, I was the person there. And I actually, I've been in relationships with people too, and they had a similar mindset of kind of real tight structure around time. Like, we've got to be there on time, we've got to be there early. And then in the past few years, that's shifted. I started teaching yoga, becoming more flexible in my body, and also just being around people who would like show up late. Right? We are like the people we're around. So what I recognize, and I've been recognizing this more and more, that I'll share this with you. I was just in the bathtub and I heard this song from, I don't know how many years ago, but one of the housewives shows, one of the Atlanta housewife shows, like, don't be tardy for the party. And I was hearing that in my head for some reason. Don't be tardy for the party. Ooh, ooh. She's better than me, probably. Slightly. So I was hearing that, and that's when I realized. I was like, oh, don't be tardy for any party in my life. Don't be late for things that I commit to. I was 8 minutes late today to this video. You may not notice, you may not care. That doesn't matter. It's not about that. It's about the fact that I'm feeling that sense of it's like drama inside. It's energy inside building up, like, oh, I got to get on there. Oh, I got to get my, I don't want to blow dry my bangs. I'll put a headband on so I can get on there quicker because I'm running late. Like, why would I do that to myself? I find it because I'm too flexible. It wasn't structured enough this morning. Okay. And I'm not saying be structured and tight, because that's why I'm on here, to help you be more flexible. Most of all of us need to be more flexible in parts of our lives. I would say that I can actually use more structure in my life and more flexibility in some parts. I'm seeing that, but the work that I've been doing over the past 4 years has got me to a place of expansion, of flexibility, of openness. And just before this call, as I was coming here, or I'm calling this a call. It's not a call. It feels like a call because you talk into a microphone, but it's a video. Anyways, you can tell I'm a little thrown today. I don't know. That's what being late does. That's what being too flexible does. It can kind of like, bing, throw you off, so you have to come back to center. So I'm going to take a breath. Yeah. And so I advise you too, if you're in a place of feeling like you're going too far one way and you want to come back to center, take a breath. Center yourself. I already feel more in my body. I feel the back of my body. I feel my toes. I feel my fingers. And more importantly for me, I feel my heart right now. And my heart always knows how far to go forward, how far to go back, how much to close in, not too much, how much to open up. But we don't need to be open all the time. It's funny, I love that I'm talking about being less flexible when I decided last night that I was going to be talking about being more flexible because it's just my own experience this morning. Yeah, to be actually, I think what I recognize, just like we need more light in the world, but we also have to recognize in order to have more light in the world, love in the world, we have to embrace the dark. We have to shine the light on the dark. Yeah. And so in order to be more flexible, we have to shine the light on the fact that, yeah, and if you go too far, there's this sense of confusion. There's not much freedom because you don't really know what you're doing. You're not able to fly if you don't have like a path where you're going. You're just kind of willy-nilly, which sometimes is okay. It's okay to be sometimes willy-nilly. Sometimes, if you just want to let go, it's fine. But also, we need that structure pulling in. And what's neat about what I teach people, and both the body piece that I teach people, the how to get your posture formed in a dynamic way, so it gives you more energy, gets you moving forward in life, gets you feeling your body, more aware of it, so that you eat healthier, make stronger decisions, listen to your gut, listen to your heart, all of that piece, and as a business coach, it's the same thing with flexibility, inflexibility. I teach people systems. We break things down, like the 7 steps to this, the 8 steps to that, the 3 areas of this. We don't need to complicate things. Excuse me, it's all fuzzy now. All the systems must have got the camera excited. So when this happens, I usually breathe and then just hope it doesn't stay fuzzy. But maybe it's going to. I don't know. It's strange. Well, whatever. I got to be flexible. Perfect. I love this. Got to be flexible with technology. And let me see if I back up a little bit. If it doesn't want my mug so close to you. Nah, I don't know. I'm still working on learning how to use this camera. So I'm going to just see if I push a button here, what happens. Ha! That's what happened. It fixed it. See, flexibility. So if you have a business, I love that this just happened too, because I've had an experience where I was too flexible. I came onto the call late and then I said, okay, no, more structure. Don't need to be so flexible always. And then what happened? This happened. I could have said, I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to start all over. No, I said, psh, right now I need to be a little flexible. Open my mind. Instead of thinking, oh gosh, being worried about my face being blurry. You know, do you ever get on and something's going on with technology and it's just not quite working and you're like, screw it. Stop, do it over. What if you were just to pause? I just in the moment paused and took a breath as it was fuzzy. And then I heard this little whisper inside of my mind, inside of my head go, check the camera settings. I had this little button where I can go zoom and so on. Zoom, 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 zoom. See? And so I thought, well, maybe there's something on that zoom box on the computer that will make my blurriness go away. And sure enough, boom, I clicked on this button that said auto. And that's something about focus. And I'll probably Google it later and figure out what that means. And here we are, it's fixed. So I needed to be more flexible just now in that moment. So it's interesting in life, in your business. Here's what I would say. If you're in a business, if you're in a career, or if you're in a relationship, or if you're down a path with your health that feels tight, that feels restrictive, if your business feels restrictive, if your relationship feels constrictive, woo! I've been in some of those. Man, I stayed in my last long-term relationship, my marriage, I'll say, that was the last long-term relationship I had. I stayed in it for probably, I would say, a good 18 months feeling extremely tight, restrictive. I was having all sorts of health problems. Yeah, I didn't think about that. A lot of health problems coming up in that 18 months. And it was because of my mind. It's the mind that was restrictive. And then my body reacted accordingly. I was trying to go to acupuncture. I was trying to do all this stuff. My throat was acting up. I couldn't seem to get like my chest to soften. It would always be kind of on fire. I had really high blood pressure, super high blood pressure. Like they were like, if you're not on medication, you need to go to the hospital. That high of blood pressure. That means, I mean, if you think about it, just the word pressure, you're not flexible. Pressure. Some pressure, you know, the sense of like a little bit of pressure for us to, like the chicken has to come out of the egg. And in order to come out of the egg, it builds strength. And then finally, bust through. So we always have pressure on us. Gravity, or this sense of atmosphere, took me a minute. Atmosphere above us has pressure. You know, anything that we come against that we want to work on that might be a little new, we can feel pressure sense, but not in a bad way, not in a sense of like it triggering stress hormones, triggering stress, a worriness. Okay, so I am going to cut it there, I think. The big lesson here is like in your mind, if you're not flexible, your body is going to react. Just like I said, you know, my body in my relationship reacted to my mind feeling stressed. I had all of these thoughts going in my head for a couple years of, wanting a different way of life, wanting something different every single day, but doing the same thing. They call that insanity. I was doing that for quite some time, about at least like 18 months, I'll say, a couple years ago. So my body reacted accordingly. My body was like, well, you're telling yourself you'd want to do something different, but you're doing the same thing over and over and over. So my body was like tightening down, tight blood pressure, pressure, belly, all jacked up, throat, couldn't quite get out what I wanted to say, right? Because I was thinking it. I definitely wasn't saying it. Because if I would have said it, then other people would have known that I wasn't living the way that I was thinking and saying. And I was totally misaligned. And that felt really inflexible. I wasn't being flexible with myself. So let me ask you this. How many of you need to be more flexible in yourself? How many of you think this is just the way I am? I'm stuck. Nowhere to go. I'm just stuck. It's not true. Nobody is stuck. Yeah, you may feel stuck, but you just haven't opened your eyes, opened your heart, opened your intuition to the possibilities. And if you feel stuck and if you really feel like there's no way out, send me a message, talk to somebody, call a friend, something. But most of you know there's a way out. You know there's a different way, a way forward. I don't want to say way out, a way forward and upwards, a way towards expansion. There is a thing. Oh, so good. Thank you for the hearts. Yeah, there's a path for expansion for you, and you know it. And flexibility is part of it. Structure is also part of it. The yin, the yang, the masculine, the feminine, the light, the dark, the opening and the closing, the awakening and the sleeping. If you feel like you're just in one all the time, too flexible, too tight, and your body is too flexible, too tight, it's your mind. Examine where in your life you could be more flexible, and examine where in your life you need more structure, and consider ways, consider resources, consider people that can help you along the way. Can't do it alone. Can't do everything alone. You got to do a lot for yourself in this world. Let's just be real. I got to do a lot for myself. A lot more than I want to sometimes. You want to do, you got a lot more to do than you want to sometimes. Yeah. So because you have so much to do, ask for help, get some resources, go to the library and get a book, something. You can do it. Okay. I hope this was useful for you. I'm going to actually change the title to the number one way to become more flexible. I don't know what I'm going to change it to. I got to think. I don't want to use my I got to pause and breathe, actually, and then something will come. It always does. So I love you. Have a wonderful day. I'm super excited. Today I'm meeting with my group. I'm actually teaching them a 7-step system. So this is a beautiful example I'll share with you before I go. Today I'm teaching them a 7-step system to have a sales conversation. Last time I taught them an 8-step system, so it's structure, to creating a high value offer, meaning not just a one-off, a low ticket offer, like something high value that you work with somebody over a period of time. You create an experience for somebody, a package, so somebody gets like a whole lot of transformation, not just a little thing from you or from them. So anyways, I taught them an 8-step system. Now we're doing a 7-step system. And the thing about systems is they give you freedom to, like, when you know, like for instance, today I'm teaching them like how to have a conversation with somebody about your high value offer that they created already. So they're getting ready to make money. They're getting ready to get clients. They're getting ready to build community, and they're getting ready to make impact in the world. I'm pumped. I'm like so beyond excited for these people. So, yeah, I mean, I'll share more about it later. So when you have a system, so the bowstring is the same thing with the posture system I teach, same thing. When you have a system, when you have a sales system, when you have a system to create a high value offer, when you have a system for your body, it gives you much more freedom. It gives you the ability to be flexible. It's like the trunk of a tree is necessary for the branches to grow whichever way they desire towards the sun. They don't just grow one way. They grow, upwards in a spiral, different, the leaves. Okay, so that's a little bit of flexibility where the tree is the tree. Okay, so that's what a system does. So what I'm teaching people is like, hey, let's get together. I'll teach you systems, and then you just use it over and over and over again. The more you use it, the more you spiral upwards towards the light, towards the sun, towards that pot of gold at the end of there's at the end of one rainbow, and then there's another rainbow with another pot of gold, and another rainbow with another pot of gold. So these systems, the sense of flexibility, what I recognize is right before I came on this live with you today is that this flexibility is only possible with structure. Okay? And your body is feeling more flexible or less flexible, more structure, your structure feels more solid or less solid based upon what's going on in your mind. So check out in your life, where could you use a system to help you out? Okay? Love you! Sending so many blessings to you! And namaste, which means the radiance of my heart, the light within me, and I will say this, the darkness within me as well, honors the light within you. And honors, more importantly, maybe today, I honor the darkness within you. Namaste.